In case you've been living under a rock this past year or just blissfully unaware, I'm very jealous. Censorship has gotten very, very bad this past year, especially since October 7th, 2023. Take a wild guess why. And this has been across all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Now, real mainstream media is totally controlled. If you just look at it, all you have to do is Google it, really. Media worldwide is controlled by banks, religious organizations, and billionaires. Take WTOP, the top grossing talk radio news station in the country, centrally located in Washington, D.C. I used to be a reporter in D.C. at WTOP. And when I was a reporter at WTOP, it was owned by Bonneville International. Bonneville International is owned by the Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints. Now, why is a Mormon group owning the top grossing talk radio news station in the country located in Washington, D.C.? Aren't they supposed to be unbiased? Then why couldn't we say seemingly harmless words in our reports? Why was every sentence monitored? Because the Mormons wanted the news to adhere to their interests. Well, social media changed all of that during the pandemic. TikTok exploded during the pandemic as millennials flooded the kids app with their own content. And their content brought the world together, to be honest. Millennials have a very interesting take on the world, and were the first to start social media anyway. And oh, did they ever take over TikTok. Especially now that we're grown and we have something to say about how the world governments are run. We definitely had something to say about what was happening in our world. We were calling out corporations and people by name, making connections with other people worldwide, creating online networks where we could trade ideas and connect dots of things that weren't previously known to the public. And this created an online space that was not just a community, but a space where we could learn from each other, advance, and get enlightened with the truth. Most importantly, because of this network, we became empowered to make a real difference in our world. And this was all done in a space totally uncontrolled or unmonitored by the powers that be. It was just the people. The news even went to TikTok to find what the news was for that day. Real users in real time, just everyday Joe Schmoes, were sitting there and recording things that they were seeing on the ground, just like any regular news reporter would do, except they were just random people. They got the news out there faster than the news. That's how TikTok became so popular. And to the powers that be that want to control the narrative, that is a scary thing. Take this clip of Kamala, who is calling for the censorship of social media. Listen very closely to why she says social media needs to be censored.
You can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation, and that has to stop.
All of these social media companies and these online platforms, which are so powerful in their ability to impact perception about an issue and to influence behaviors. Let's be clear about that. There have to be standards.
She says there needs to be some sort of moderation. You mean like a religious organization? A billionaire? Because that's who's moderating the news now. So you don't want the people to have freedom of information, Kamala? Well, they got what they wanted. I had a TikTok with over 500,000 followers. It was my second TikTok, actually, and the first was banned as well. But the second one with 500,000 followers showed digital footage manipulation of the October 7th attack, where the blue and white, which I can't actually say their name even on YouTube because that's how censored it is, had digitally manipulated the video to show blood where there was no blood. And I showed the before and after of the original video and then the digital footage that was manipulated by the blue and white. And the next time I logged into TikTok, I was banned permanently. My page was gone forever. I have since made another TikTok with over 200K followers right now, but the sad part is I can't actually expose anything in the news or the media or call out billionaires or corporations anymore because that's immediately taken down from the app. And the reason why is that they want to control the narrative. They want to moderate what is put online. If it doesn't align in their interests, they're going to take it down. It isn't freedom of speech that's under attack. It's freedom of information. Information that you can easily find on Google. I mean, this isn't even hidden stuff. This is stuff that you can easily Google and find out. There have been so many truth tellers on the TikTok app that have been banned completely, but they didn't want to just stop at banning truth tellers. They wanted the complete control over moderating the app. Thus ensued the Supreme Court battle to ban TikTok. They said it was because a Chinese-owned company having the data from American citizens was very dangerous for us. But what was interesting is that we had more freedom of information and freedom of speech on the app when ByteDance was in full control of it. So what ultimately happened was TikTok was allowed to stay and not be banned, but only under the stipulation that it was monitored by a company called Oracle, which is based in Austin, Texas. Now, all user data is located in the Oracle cloud, and user data is monitored from within the United States. Let's take a look at the top investors of Oracle. The first is Larry Ellison, who is the owner of Oracle and happens to be the second richest man in the world. So you can imagine where his investments lie and why he would want to be in full control of monitoring the cloud. He needs to protect his investments, his interests, and that includes in political parties, any scrutiny against any governmental body or any corporation. So of course he's going to censor TikTok now. But after that, the top investors are BlackRock, Vanguard Group, and State Street. And all of these companies work together. If one goes down, so does the other. And BlackRock and Vanguard Group are the top investors of every single thing you can imagine. That includes companies, stores. These companies alone are responsible for trillions and trillions of dollars worth of investments, more than the US national debt. You better believe they're protecting their interests. They're not going to allow the public to scrutinize one of the companies that they highly invest in anymore. No, those videos are going to be taken off the app completely right away. They also have the largest investments in a lot of banks worldwide. They're tied to politics at the highest levels. You better believe they're going to control the online narrative and social media. It's no longer freedom of information, which is why this week when I made a video on TikTok saying that they are the top investors in Oracle, which manages the cloud that manages TikTok, that was immediately given a community guidelines violation. When I scrolled down to see what the violation was, it didn't tell me. It just said community guidelines violation. And it didn't say specifically which guideline was broken. So when I appealed it, the appeal was denied. This is approved. It's final. This was a community guidelines violation, even though it was information that the public can easily access on Google. So telling the truth that you can so easily find on Google is against community guidelines? Yeah, because freedom of information is no longer free. And neither are we. By the way, if you're liking this video, like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that. I come out with new-ish every week. So many creators who have pointed out their hypocrisy in the media and in the government have been banned from the TikTok app, and it just keeps going. One of my mutuals, which means we were friends and followed each other on the TikTok app, his name was Kes.io, or in short, Kes. He had over 1 million followers, and he was banned from the app one day just because he was a truth teller and was saying a lot of things that I guess the government didn't want you to know. He had too many followers, and he had too much influence on the app over people and with a community. They needed him gone. Even Barrett Paul, who was a mutual of mine on the app as well, we followed each other. He had over 2 million followers, and he was more focused on investigating human trafficking rings, especially with children, and is currently one of the people who was interviewed and was involved in the documentary called The Abercrombie Guys, The Dark Side of Cool. You can watch this documentary on Amazon Prime and BBC Select, by the way. It exposes human trafficking in the modeling industry, and everything he said was completely 100% true, but he was banned from the app because of the influence that he had. The powers that be, as we know, don't like that kind of stuff to be given out freely to the public because they are involved. Yeah. They're not banning people according to actual guidelines. They're banning people because they want to. And that's it. They definitely don't want trafficking exposed. Dare I say, once again, they're protecting their assets. They'd rather have minors twerking on the app than people giving you real factual information. But it's not just TikTok. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they've all had an influx of censorship across the board. If you've noticed more violations on your account lately, this is why. Billionaires now own social media, and they will not allow us to talk because they saw how influential it was when a community worldwide got together and wanted to make a difference. They have to stop that. They have to stop it as fast as they can. And this happened especially since October 7th, 2023. A lot of people were very critical in looking into the fibers of what the agreement in 1948 to make the state of Israel actually was. And they found out that the surrounding territory around Israel was never in the agreement. So they were actually breaking international law and creating crimes, and they pointed that out, and suddenly they're like, well, we have to hightail this into gear and start censoring-ish. We can't have people getting together worldwide and having protests, which actually happened. If you type in a country name into Google and just say Palestinian protest, every single country will have an image or a report of a protest for Palestine. Never in human history has there ever been a global protest in support of one thing like that. This was the biggest global protest in all of human history, and it was all but silenced online. Just know there's no freedom of information anymore, there's no freedom of speech, and there's no freedom to say true facts that are easily available on Google to the public. On the first page, you don't even have to dig. That is the state of society that we live in. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely tell me what you think about this in the comments and if any sort of the censorship has happened to you. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.